Hello everyone, my name is Matt Stuart and I work this semester at South Campus in the IT department. The class was CIS1942 and my professor was Miss Sebena. So like I said, I was at South Campus, which is one of the many campuses at FSCJ. I only needed to work apparently 50 hours total for the class. Um, but once I got there, I just really fell in love with working there and the people that I worked with. So usually, I probably was there maybe 20 hours per week. Um, and my supervisor was Jermaine Lazenberry, who has worked for FSCJ for many, many years. I think it's like 12 plus now. So he was my main supervisor. And also working there was Luis and Mac, and we did work with them as well and shadowed them many times. So the IT department that I worked in, it's one of those departments that every school must have. It helps to keep classes, working properly, and helps teachers be able to teach better. Um, so people can kind of see what the teachers are looking at instead of having to like hand out a bunch of papers for everybody. And we worked on everything from moving computers to updating and clearing computers that were getting ready to be disposed of, um, which was good because it's some things that I had never done before, as well as working with Mac and Windows PCs, where I mainly work with Windows. So I've never really worked with anything Mac except for, like, of course, my Apple iPhone. So that was a good learning experience. What is an internship? I think people see internships as kind of being like the person in the corner that you get to do all the dirty work and stuff. And I was happily surprised that there was nothing like that. Um, I wasn't, like thrown into the deep end to do a bunch of stuff all by myself and learn all by myself. I was really able to shadow and figure out how to do things so that in the future I would be able to do it, do it myself on my own. And as you see in the photo, this is one of the other interns that worked with us there, and we called him Jake. Um, and it was a lot of fun because we had multiple interns and multiple student assistants working with us. So we were able to really bounce things off each other's heads to figure out what was the best solution. Hands-on learning for the internship is just amazing. In the beginning, I was able to shadow Jermaine, Mac, Luis through all different things that we had to learn. And that's big for me because I'm one of those people that once you show me or have me do something once or twice, I can pretty much do it every time. Um, it's really how I learn. And one of the things we used a lot was the program Deep Freeze, to freeze and thaw out computers, so that if we needed to add programs to certain computers that we wanted to stay on the computer, we would have to thaw it out, and then once we added it to it, while it's thawed, then we could freeze it again, and it would keep whatever we put on it. So that was a program that we used a lot. Um, RJ45 cables. I worked a lot with Mac with this, who was one of the other supervisors. He showed me and the other people that were working there how to actually take just a normal wire and add the RJ45 connection to the ends of both of them so that you can make cables yourself instead of having to just buy pre-made ones. And it was very interesting, just different configurations of how you do it, whether it's A or B, and we used B, as well as there's different connectors, different ways that you can add the connectors to it. Some are a little bit harder, some are a little bit easier, but it's all kind of what you are comfortable with. So we did a lot here. We had to run some cables through that pipe up on the top left of that picture, and come back down and go into an office that we were adding computers and everything to, and we we needed an RJ45 cable run to it, so we had to run all through the ceiling back into the office. After shadowing and everything, I was able to do more solo jobs, and working on requests from professors by myself, and he'd get a call in, he'd send me to go do it, which is something that of course I was a little worried about at first, because it's just I, kind of out of my comfort zone. But once I was kind of doing it a couple times, I was able to see that it's not too bad. You get a good experience. You get to know the people that you're working with, and everyone's just so nice. And then but you also run into situations that you may not know how to fix. Like as you see in the picture, this would pop up whenever I'd reboot the computer, and we figured out that there was one of the batteries in the computer that was actually low. So that's something that just pops up as you're working by yourself, and you kind of gotta figure out what you got to do to fix it. And of course there was good and there was bad that I saw, and I wouldn't say bad, but just kind of things that I think could be done better. The people there that I worked with are absolutely amazing. I learned immensely more than I ever thought I would, but there was also, it seemed like a lot of computers could be um, donated or help some students with computers and stuff like that, and instead we were just completely setting them for disposal and getting rid of them, as well as not having a working van that could fit enough of us to go to other campuses. There was only room for a driver and one other passenger, because the other vans were, I guess the battery's been out for a very long time and just no one decides to fix it. So I think there's some things that could be done better. Re-imaging PCs were one thing that I did a lot of. This was one of the classrooms that I had to go around and re-image the PCs, which made it a little bit easier because I was able to use a program to go to the head computer, and then I was able to add the file that I needed to every one of the computers through that, so I didn't have to go to every single computer. But I also did learn that re-imaging takes a very long time to get completely done, and sometimes it doesn't work the first time and you have to do it again. It's really nothing that you've done wrong, it's just sometimes it doesn't take. So that was something that we did to a lot of PCs during my time there, as well as printers. We worked on a lot of printers, setting up certain printers to print for certain computers, whether it be only students can print from that printer, or only faculty can print from that printer, so that students don't accidentally pick up papers that are for faculty. There could be some sort of legal thing there, as well as having to make sure that printers were on the correct VLAN, and that the IP address they were working on was correct, because we had a couple instances where we had to change the IP address that was on the printer, as well as the printer being on the wrong VLAN. And as you see on the picture, you kind of, after doing it a bit, you can kind of memorize what goes to what VLAN. Especially printers and projectors were something that we dealt a lot with, so we always knew what VLAN we needed to check for, as well as always taking the fluke so that you could check what VLAN it was on. Another big thing we did was move security from downstairs to upstairs. They have a lot of monitors to monitor the whole campus, and a lot of computers, and everything's hooked up a certain way. So we had to go in before they moved and make sure that we figured out where everything went, what went to what, and ask them where they wanted it in the new area, so that when they did move, we would have to move everything up there and set everything up correctly. And that was one of the big jobs that we did while I was there, as well as a lot of inventory labeling, taking a lot of product from inventory, bringing it upstairs, scanning it, seeing if it's for disposal or if it's in use, relabeling it, and then putting it right back into inventory. That was something we did very constantly while I was there. It's kind of one of those things you can do on your downtime to kind of get everything else done. And we were also able to take some that were for disposal and take the parts from it and fix them computers and some laptops that were broken. This was another thing that we did was the big Mac disposal. We had 85 plus Mac computers that they all needed to be wiped. So we had to take one by one to the desk, plug in a mouse, plug in a keyboard, plug them into power, turn them on, and then set them up so that they could be wiped. So there were three of us that did it. We each had two computers each at a time that we were working on, as you can see in the picture. And then once we wiped them, we'd put them to the side. And there were just a handful that we couldn't even get to turn on, so we had to put those to the side so that we could work on them at a different time. Projectors were another thing that we worked on nearly every day. There was some issues going on where the boxes that control the projectors and connect them to the computers just gets desynced, and you have to go over there and you have to unplug it, and you have to replug it and wait for it to start up, which is a very long process. And most of the time that fixes it, but it's more of just something that seems to be happening over and over and over again. Gaming was one thing that I found when I first got there. I myself am a big gamer, and I found out that they're just starting to make an esports team at FSCJ South Campus. So they had brand new computers, keyboards, controllers, and headsets and everything. And about the first week while I was waiting to see what we needed to be done, they had asked me if I would test them. So that was one thing I did on my downtime, was testing a lot of the computers and make sure they work, make sure the products work properly. And it turned out that the controllers wouldn't work on the computers, so we had to have a third-party program, I found, that would actually let those controllers work on computers, because they seem to only work on PlayStations most of the time. So that was something that I was able to find out and help to get the right software that we need for the computers. Was it worth it? 100% yes. People were amazing. The stuff I learned was absolutely crazy. I met some great people that worked there, the other interns and the student assistants that were there. Luis, Mac, Jermaine, all of them were absolutely amazing. It was a lot of fun, and I think I would recommend it to any person that wants to try an internship in the IT department.